Hello everyone, and welcome to Stardew Valley. Definitely need to cover this one. Stardew Valley is one of the most impressive games that I've ever had the pleasure to actually play, considering where it came from, what it is, and what it hopes to be. So, welcome to my quaint little house. Let's head out, see what's going on out here today. This is my farm. So, I don't have too much going on right now, but I can harvest some tomatoes. And I also have someone that is pounding on my house right now because I just upgraded it. And it's going to take until like tomorrow to actually finish the upgrade, but hey. So what is Stardew Valley? Well, you probably already have an idea, and if you've not already heard of the game in the first place, I'd be kind of surprised. Stardew Valley is a kind of farming or life sim style of RPG. And it is very reminiscent of games like Harvest Moon. And if you've never played Harvest Moon, well, that was awful. I don't necessarily blame you, I suppose, because this being a PC channel, Harvest Moon isn't available on PC, and that's a crying shame. But they are a very long-running series of extremely good games, and a lot of people have put a lot of hours into Harvest Moon. And I think a lot of people have actually really grown up with Harvest Moon. They've been around for that long, and people have a good amount of history with those games when it comes to growing up with specific ones. And similar ways to how some people identify with like specific Animal Crossings and things like that. It's just one of those kinds of games that you can spend a very, very long period of time actually playing. And a one-man development team by the name of Concerned Ape decided to bring the Harvest Moon experience to PC. And what he brought is Stardew Valley, and I think just calling it a Harvest Moon clone, though, doesn't really do it justice. First of all, even if Harvest Moon didn't exist, or let's just say if Harvest Moon was on PC, this would actually still be a very, very good game that would stand on its own. It doesn't really need to be... It's not one of those games where it's just kind of a good enough because we don't have what we really want, kind of like those awful Minecraft clones that were on Xbox before Minecraft actually got to Xbox. It's not one of those. The game itself is actually phenomenal on its own. And really, it requires very little introduction if you've actually played one of those styles of games before. However, if this is your first foray into something like this, it stands up just fine. Hello, kitty. This is my kitty. And really, you can choose to do quite a number of things, and that's actually one of the main points of the game. In fact, to the point where, at first, you may feel a little bit overwhelmed. There's farming and foraging and mining and combat and fishing and meeting people and being disappointed by people and making people angry. There's so much to do that you have this energy meter here that doing most things, like, you know, farming and tilling and planting and harvesting, all of that kind of stuff, mining and chopping, it all takes energy. It represents your stamina, basically. And eventually you'll get tired and you'll need to go to bed to actually restore all of that. And then, of course, also, there's time. And the time ticks over in, like, 10-minute increments, basically. So, what you have is a system in place that basically says, you know, you gotta choose some stuff. You can't do everything. And there's a lot of things to do. So what I'm actually going to do is, now that I have everything watered, that was kind of my priority for today, and I have some tomatoes harvested. I'm going to ship them to make some money, since I just spent 10,000 to get my my house upgraded. I have various qualities of tomatoes because you can harvest them at different quality levels. And let's see. Now I wanted to go put this in the actual, well, there's a system that involves restoring parts of this town's infrastructure, basically, And these little forest spirit things called Judimos, I believe. I think they're called Judimos. And you have to grow various crops and find various things to give to them in order to do this. And of course, as you can see, there's also lots and lots of NPCs around the place. So the town itself is actually pretty huge, and there are lots of different places to go. And every NPC actually has their own routine for any given day. But not only any given day, any given season, in fact, across the year, will have, everyone will have different routines. She doesn't like me very much. Yeah, as you can see. And these routines, if you want to actually impress the person, you will need to learn them. And they kind of make sense once you actually figure out who is who and learn their personalities and things like that. The kind of places they will go, the places you'll find them, they all start to make sense, which is actually pretty interesting. Alright, so I just need one more thing to put here. Snail, a shrimp, a lobster, a crayfish. Actually, I think I can get some oysters down by the beach occasionally. That might work. So basically what you have from the outset is an almost overwhelming amount of stuff to do, and you will be tempted, I would say, at first, to try and do as much as you can every day, but you will quickly learn that that is unrealistic, because you are limited by both things, your energy and time. If you stay out till 2 a.m., you will actually pass out, in fact, so that's not a smart thing to try and do. Wheat. Well, I just recently sold all of my wheat. Sorry, Harvey. I should have kept some of that, I guess. And this is something I'm learning, that you eventually will actually need to start keeping different amounts of your various crops and things like that, because people will have quests. Oh yeah, it's closed on Wednesdays. People will have quests that they will need fulfilled, and it will increase their happiness levels, it will increase your wallet, and a couple of other things as well. And basically, every day you'll want to choose something. Maybe one, maybe two things, depending on, I suppose, how much time there is and what you can actually do that day. So today, I think, because I don't have much energy left from watering all that stuff, I'm probably going to do a little fishing down by the beach, and I'll show you that. By the way, this game's fishing minigame, holy crap, this is probably the most difficult fishing minigame of any game I've ever seen. A lot of RPGs with fishing minigames I'm usually pretty good at, but this one is really challenging. It's taken me a while to actually get the skill level, and by that I mean actual, like, literal fishing skill level, to the point where I can actually do it reliably. And even then I still screw it up all the time. So I think one of the things that makes this game so impressive is that it was all done by one person. The soundtrack is beautiful. It has a lot of music, and by the way, the soundtrack is available separately on Steam if you want. You can purchase it as DLC, so you can listen to it wherever, and I would actually recommend that, not only just to support the developer, who has shown excellent development practices and has been just a joy to the community and very fair, but also because the music is great. Alright, here we go. But the game itself is one of those games where, since there's so much to do, again, akin to things like Harvest Moon, that I think people that really get into it will find themselves playing it for a very, very, very long time. But not only that, the game itself has actually been made quite moddable. The, oh good, soda. Definitely will drink that. Soda caught in the ocean. And the modding scene has actually taken off quite well. There's a good number of mods for the game already. And I think that speaks to what kind of developer Concerned Ape actually is, that even from the beginning he kind of understood the importance of modding a game like this and made it quite easy to do so. And you can pretty much put in whatever you want, from basic skins and things like that, I'm not having any actual fishing luck here, to actual, like, more substantial changes in content and things like that. Which I think is pretty cool. And, you know, I'm always, as a lot of people have noticed on this channel, a big proponent of modding. Now, My goodness, I'm absolutely having zero luck. As for the actual level of content in the game, that's where it gets really impressive. You have a huge number of crops you can plant and harvest and keep. Your farm can grow to ludicrous sizes. And in fact, in a recent update, because yes, the developer has been putting in a large amount of free after-launch content and free updates, one of the things you can do is actually start off with a different kind of farm. Now, the basic one that I'm using, I figured I'd just use the kind of vanilla one to start off with, since this is my first time playing, isn't the only one. There are even... you can start off with a farm, for instance, that is focused on mining. It has a lot of mineable ores and things around. Yeah, a farm that is focused on monster hunting. So at night, monsters will come out and try and eat you. Or something like a farm focused on fishing, like this, if you want to be a fisherman and get your fishing skill up very high. You can even have a farm that is adjacent to, you know, like oceans and streams and things like that, and catch various kinds of fish. I caught literally no fish whatsoever. I have enough for one more cast without becoming exhausted, and I'll have to go back home. This has been the worst fishing expedition ever. And I mean, this really kind of encapsulates the game. You just pick something to do. There we go. In any given day, and just see what happens, basically. And every day is kind of a little adventure. You're just finding out... That was easy. What happens. Ooh, record halibut. I'll take that. And I think it's a really heartening experience. It's one of those games that just makes you feel really kind of warm and fuzzy inside just to play. And we need more of those. It's not a... I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not like a mass-produced corporate product, as weird and hipsterish as that sounds. I just mean that it was an absolute passion project made by one guy. And it does make you feel really, really warm and happy just to play it. And it will also leave your wallet feeling warm and happy, because you get all of this for $15, and that's it. It's only going to cost you $15 to enjoy this. And I would say that's basically highway robbery, because it's worth a lot more than that. And it's a bit like, I don't know, buying The Witcher or something like that on sale, because there's just so much here that... ooh, it's a gold star halibut even. Even paying what is full price for it just feels low. And that's a good thing, because that's just how much there is to do and how good it feels to play. Making some moolah. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, please do check out Stardew Valley. And it's not as if every single... Oh! I got a better bed. The house is beautiful. It's not as if every single part of the game is absolutely perfect. The game isn't flawless or anything. Like the combat, for instance, is obviously a bit of an afterthought. It is probably the worst portion, but I use the term worst as lightly as possible because it's still functional. It's just not a focus of the game, and it's very clear that that's the case. I have to water all this later. And I guess it's just very, very enjoyable to kind of make your own adventure in the game. It's one of those games that's also a bit like Terraria, because it's very cheap. It's constantly updated by a very passionate development team, or in this case, one-man development team. And you get such a ridiculous amount of value out of the money that you put into it originally that it's difficult to complain. And what you'll actually find, I think, once you've begun, is that you can't stop. Because although it may seem kind of simple at first, like, oh, I'm just going to farm, I'm just going to go down into the mines and kill some slimes, you will very quickly discover that you can't stop. Just one more day, or just one more night, just one more crop to plant, or whatever it is that you choose to do with your character, you will be unable to pull yourself away. I don't like that. And it's kind of an infectious game. I find that almost every time I start playing, someone else on my friends list starts playing too. And in fact, my girlfriend has logged like 12 hours already, and she's only owned it for like 2.5 days because she has a problem. So it's just one of those really genuinely enjoyable games that is easy to get into. You can just kind of make your own way through, and in my case I'm focusing on a combination of like mining, cooking, a little bit of fishing, some combat occasionally just to get through, and a good amount of farming for money. I mean, you can even decorate your house however you want. You can even marry someone. There are like 10, I think-ish, maybe a bit over 10 different characters that you can actually, as you can see here, that you can actually go for. And it doesn't matter what gender you are, what gender they are, which is pretty cool. You can go for whoever you want. And you can give everyone gifts, and you will eventually kind of find out their schedule and their likes and dislikes and their personalities, and you can talk to them, and you can go through mini games and things like that. Like Best Girl here, Abigail, the one I'm going for, she even has these little mini games you can go for where you play like a Super Nintendo in her room and things like that, which is pretty cute. And everyone has things like that. And there are also in-game events like harvest festivals and luau's and all kinds of other things of that nature that kind of spice up the average day, I guess, that kind of change things around. Here you go. Thank you. And yeah, it is a product of a very special, specific kind of person. A kind of person that knows that we need something like this on PC and has the mind and the love to make it. And that's exactly who Concerned Ape is, and I'm very happy that he was actually able to do it in the way that he was. So that's Stardew Valley, everyone. Please do check it out on Steam. It is available right now for $15. That's not much. Although it is only $10 while the holiday sale is going on, but I know that's about to end, so yeah. Also, while exploring the mines, do not get killed by slimes. Figured I would show a little bit of the exploration bit as well, because it is actually pretty cool. It's an enjoyable part of the game. The deeper you go into the mines, the more, you know, stuff there is. More exotic and dangerous stuff. And this part is key for getting various materials for upgrading stuff and things like that, like copper and iron, without having to buy them, basically. Also, every 5 levels, you get to use an elevator. So you can kind of fast travel back through those floors, but as what happened to me, when you die, you will occasionally forget about 8,000 levels worth of progress and get very upset about the whole affair. So there you go. It's also very dark down here. If only I had like some kind of torch like this one. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show that off too. It is basically impossible for me to not recommend it. I've already had just so much fun, and I can see myself playing this for many seasons to come, and just coming back to it all the time, and just growing my crops, and exploring the, like, 100 level, by the way, mines, finding cool artifacts. They're like special weapons with various, like, magic attacks down there, and expanding my house and decorating it how I want, and I'm just basically scratching the surface right now with what I'm showing you, because I just started, and eventually I'd actually like to show you more if I can. But it was just such a good game, and I kind of knew already from the outset what it was, that I wanted to show it off even at this early stage. So this is the first video, at least for now, on Stardew Valley, and it's a really special thing that I hope a lot of people will continue to buy and continue to support, and we'll probably even see more stuff added to it in the future. And honestly, with as much that's been added to it for free already, I would pay for a DLC that adds even more, but I have a feeling that if he does add more soon, a lot of it will probably still be free, because it's just the kind of person that the developer is. So, thank you very much for watching. If there's anything you want to see, anything in particular about this game that you want to hear about or know about or watch, please do let me know in the comments below. And go pick this game up and enjoy it, because I think you'll be hooked from the moment you plant your first seed. And I'll see you guys next time.